The flickering candlelight danced across the table, casting long, distorted shadows on the walls of our quaint little Italian restaurant in Charleston. It was our 15th anniversary, and I, Tobias, a software developer, felt a surge of warmth as I gazed at my wife, Meredith. Her emerald green eyes, usually sparkling with laughter, seemed distant. We had been together since college, a love story that felt like something out of a movie. Or so I thought. "Happy anniversary, darling," I said, reaching across the table to take her hand. Her skin felt cold, unfamiliar. 15 years, can you believe it? Meredith offered a weak smile. "It's gone by fast," she murmured, her gaze drifting towards the window where the rain was beginning to fall. "Too fast, maybe," I frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" She hesitated, picking at a loose thread on her dress. "Nothing, Tobias, just thinking out loud." The waiter arrived with our wine, a rich, ruby-red Chianti, and I seized the opportunity to change the subject. "Remember that trip to Tuscany we took for our 5th anniversary? We should go back sometime." Meredith nodded absently. Maybe. Throughout dinner I felt a growing unease. Meredith was withdrawn, almost guilty. Her usual bubbly personality was replaced by a tense, guarded silence. I tried to brush it off, attributing it to stress at work. She was a real estate agent, and the Charleston market was notoriously cutthroat. But the feeling persisted, gnawing at me like a persistent ache. It wasn't until a week later that my world began to crumble. It started with a misplaced phone. Meredith had left her cell on the kitchen counter, something she never did. Curiosity, a dangerous companion, got the better of me. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't resist. I picked up her phone, my heart pounding in my chest, and scrolled through her recent messages. The name Garrett jumped out at me. It was a name I vaguely recognized, a colleague of Meredith's, I believed. The messages were innocuous enough at first, work-related chatter about listings and clients. But then I scrolled further back. The tone shifted. The messages became more personal, more intimate. "I can't stop thinking about you," one message from Garrett read. "That kiss last night, it was electric." My blood ran cold. A kiss? What kiss? I scrolled further, my hands shaking. The messages painted a vivid picture of betrayal, of stolen moments and whispered promises. Meredith and Garrett were having an affair. My Meredith, the woman I had loved and trusted for 15 years, was cheating on me. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. I felt a wave of nausea, a crushing weight in my chest. It couldn't be true. It had to be a mistake. But the evidence was undeniable, staring me in the face, each message a barbed wire tearing through my heart. I stumbled back, dropping the phone on the counter. The screen cracked, a fitting metaphor for my shattered reality. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I could only feel the searing pain of betrayal, the agonizing realization that my life was a lie. I spent the next few days in a daze, barely eating or sleeping. I replayed our years together in my mind, searching for clues, for signs that I had missed. Had I been blind? Had I been too complacent, too trusting? The questions swirled around in my head, each one a fresh stab wound. I confronted Meredith that evening. She came home late, her face flushed, her eyes avoiding mine. "Where were you?" I asked, my voice trembling. She hesitated. "Just out with some clients," she mumbled. I couldn't take it anymore. "Don't lie to me, Meredith," I said, my voice rising. "I know about Garrett. I saw the messages." Her face paled. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. The silence hung heavy in the air, thick with guilt and shame. Finally she spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "Tobias, I can explain." "Explain what?" I demanded, my voice raw with emotion. "Explain how you could betray me like this. Explain how you could throw away 15 years of our life for some fling." Tears streamed down her face. "It wasn't just a fling," she sobbed. "I don't know what happened. It just happened. It just happened." I repeated, incredulous. "You just happened to fall into bed with another man. You just happened to lie to me, to sneak around behind my back. Is that what you're telling me?" She didn't answer. She couldn't. The truth was too ugly, too painful to articulate. "I want you to leave," I said, my voice cold and hard. "Get out of my house." She looked at me, her eyes wide with shock. "Tobias, please don't do this. We can work through this. We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix, Meredith," I said, my heart breaking with every word. "You broke it, you destroyed it, and I can never forgive you." She left that night, taking a suitcase filled with her clothes and her secrets. I watched her drive away, the taillights of her car disappearing into the darkness, and I felt a profound sense of loss, of emptiness. My life as I knew it was over. The divorce was swift and brutal. Meredith didn't contest it, offering no excuses, no apologies. She simply signed the papers and walked away, leaving me to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. I threw myself into my work, coding day and night, trying to drown out the pain with the endless stream of lines of code. But it was no use. The memories kept coming back, haunting me like ghosts. The laughter, the shared dreams, the promises we had made, all of it now tainted, poisoned by her betrayal. One evening, a few months after the divorce was finalized, I received an unexpected phone call. It was from a woman named Isolde. She introduced herself as Garrett's wife. "I know about the affair," she said, her voice trembling. "Garrett told me everything." I felt a surge of anger, a burning desire for revenge. "He told you," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "How convenient for him. He's a monster," Isolde said, her voice cracking. "He's done this before. He's ruined so many lives." We talked for hours that night, sharing our stories of betrayal and heartbreak. We discovered that Garrett wasn't just having an affair with Meredith. He was also involved in some shady business dealings, using his position at the real estate agency to defraud clients. An idea began to form in my mind, a plan for revenge. I would expose Garrett for who he really was, a liar, a cheat, and a con man. And I would make sure that Meredith paid the price for her betrayal as well. I used my skills as a software developer to gather evidence, to uncover Garrett's fraudulent activities. I hacked into his email account, his bank records, his social media accounts. I pieced together a damning case against him, a trail of deceit that led straight to his door. I shared my findings with Isolde, and together we decided to take action. We contacted the authorities, providing them with all the evidence we had gathered. The investigation was swift and thorough. Garrett was arrested and charged with multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. Meredith was also implicated in the scandal. While she wasn't directly involved in Garrett's fraudulent activities, she was aware of them and did nothing to stop him. Her real estate license was suspended, and her reputation was ruined. I watched it all unfold, a grim satisfaction washing over me. I had gotten my revenge. I had exposed Garrett and Meredith for who they really were. But as I sat alone in my empty house, I realized that revenge was a hollow victory. It didn't bring me happiness. It didn't bring me peace. It only left me feeling emptier than before. One day I received a letter from Meredith. It was a plea for forgiveness, a desperate attempt to salvage what was left of her life. She had lost everything. She wrote: her husband, her career, her reputation. She was alone and destitute, living in a small, run-down apartment, struggling to make ends meet. I felt a flicker of sympathy for her, but it was quickly extinguished by the memory of her betrayal. I had given her everything, and she had thrown it all away for a moment of fleeting pleasure. I didn't respond to her letter. I couldn't. I had nothing left to say to her. Time passed. I continued to work, to heal, to rebuild my life. I started seeing a therapist who helped me to process my emotions and to move on from the past. I met new people, made new friends, and discovered new hobbies. One sunny afternoon, while volunteering at a local animal shelter, I met a woman named Genevieve. She was kind, compassionate, and funny. We bonded over our shared love of animals, and soon we were spending all our free time together. Genevieve helped me to see the world in a new light, to believe in love again. She taught me that forgiveness was possible, that even the deepest wounds could heal. With her by my side, I began to let go of the anger and resentment that had consumed me for so long. One evening, as we sat on my porch watching the sunset, Genevieve turned to me and said, "You know, Tobias, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved." I looked at her, my heart filled with gratitude. "I am happy," I said. "I am loved. I have you." We kissed, a soft, gentle kiss that promised a future filled with love and happiness. And in that moment, I knew that I had finally found peace. I had survived the betrayal, the heartbreak, and the revenge. And I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. Years later, I heard that Meredith had moved away from Charleston, seeking a fresh start in a new city. I never saw her again, but I often think about her, about the choices she made, and about the consequences she faced. I hope that she found happiness, that she learned from her mistakes, and that she was able to create a better life for herself. As for me, I am content. I have a loving wife, a fulfilling career, and a peaceful heart. I have learned that betrayal is a part of life, but it doesn't have to define us. We can choose to forgive, to heal, and to move on. And we can choose to create a future filled with love, happiness, and hope.